Due to structural racism in material health care in the United States, Black and Indian and Alaskan Native infants are more than twice as likely to die than white infants. Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women, and American Indian and Alaskan Native women are 5 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women. This trend persists even when adjusting for income and education. So what would I'll just stop very briefly to ask you, what would your typical doom documenter or doom dissector say right now upon reading that? What would they do? They would say, well, let's have a debate about why these non-white people are suffering more than us. So right there's your first problem. They're not suffering more than us. They're not talking about the things that white people suffer more than vis-a-vis non-white groups, the diseases that we suffer from that they don't suffer from at all or almost at all. They're not talking about the fact that more of us live in poverty. They're not talking about the fact that more of us are committing suicide. And they're not talking about any of this on a per capita or on a total basis. So therein lies the first error of all of these imbeciles, all of these Muppets. Then you're getting into a debate inside the anti-white narrative where you cannot win because, of course, you could then say, well, what are the genetic predispositions that these races have to the ailments that have been, some of the ailments at least, that have been cited here? Well, then the anti-white's going to say, how dare you suggest there is a genetic difference in races? You are a monster. And then you would say, but wait, there's even different drugs for different races. Well, you are a monster. You are a racist. You are there. Go down with the anti-white slurs. But wait. And then you'll say, but wait, what about, maybe you get really out there and you'll pull like a absolute pussycat like Stefan Molyneux and then say, well, and don't worry about it, folks. He would never have me on his show. He's far too floppy in the backbone to have to talk with somebody like me. Doesn't matter how much good I do for Western kind and the civilization that his jelly-like ass gets to live inside of. So, because he's not going to be out there on the front. He was good on the front line when he's making dough and very popular. He's not going to get on the front line in the way that it has to happen. And this is the way that it has to happen. What would Molyneux do? He'd get really edgy and he would say, well, you know, you have these supposed IQ differences, and this is all that matters in the world are these IQ differences. Bravo, Sierra. What IQ differences don't mean squat. What matters is instinct. The bio-spiritual differences. That's what really matter. That's what really determines culture. That's what really determines civilization. IQ is just whether or not it's going to be far more technical or far less technical. Far more intricate or far less intricate. What does the artwork look like? In some places, how intricate does it get? How plain and insipid does it get? Prosaic in other areas. How jejune does it get in other areas? Same thing with language. Same thing with mathematics. Same thing on and on. But Stefan Molyneux would say, well, and so therefore, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Therefore, how do we know that these people aren't making decisions that cause their children to die at these rates? Maybe their children would be surviving if they weren't making poor decisions. And then the anti-white, because you're in the anti-white narrative, will step right up and will say, well, let me tell you, the balding dumbass. The problem is that you are evil and you've created an evil society that causes them to be poor, that causes them to be in these bad states, that causes them to make these judgments, that causes them to not be able to delay gratification. That's all your fault. I can show you, I'm going to have to start doing shows where I just get into the anti-white narrative as an anti-white. I will invite on anyone. I will turn Tucker Carlson on. I will invite on anyone who wants to argue as an abstractionist of any variety, and I will make you look so bad. I will make you look so bad. Your children will be ugly. That's how bad I will make you look. You cannot win in their narrative. So you do not stay in their narrative here.